Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, or welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be going over all of this stuff from MONDO LLAMA, so let's get into it. I think because there is so much stuff, I'm going to break this into 2 videos, so come back for part 2 if you want to see me try out all this stuff. Alright, so one of the first things I saw were these alcohol markers. They are a 40 count. It says they are a dual tip alcohol marker with a broad tip and a fine tip. It also says that they are made for paper, glass, wood, metal, and plastic. So interested to see how these actually do. Next up, I had to get the colored pencils. I want to see how they layer on top of the alcohol markers. This is a 24 non-toxic count, just your basic wax colored pencils. Next up, I found 2 sets of paint markers. I have a basic paint marker set here with 16 colors, and it does have a bullet tip. And then I have the glitter paint markers that are also bullet tip and a 10 count. So I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do with the glitter paint markers. I don't really dabble or do much with glitter things, so this will be an interesting challenge for me. It says that you can use these on paper, ceramic, canvas, wood, and more, and that does go for both the plain and the glitter kind. And lastly, of course, I needed to pick up a sketchbook, so I did go with this mixed media, obviously because we have some wet and dry mediums that we're working with. So without any more waiting, let's jump into this stuff. Let's go ahead and bust these out. Take a look at the colors. Wow! You know what? I think there's a little tray in here. While I struggle to get this out, it does come with a stand. So you're getting 40 markers with a stand at $25, so that's about 63 cents a piece. If these actually are pretty decent, that's a really good price. And then as mentioned before, I am going to be using this mixed media pad to do the swatches on, so that we'll also get a chance to see how this performs as well. First look at the marker. It doesn't appear that it has any sort of name or color code on it. It literally just says MONDO LLAMA broad and fine nib. Here is the fine nib, and here is the broad side. Let's go ahead and we'll swatch the broad side and see how close we are to the cap that it, or the color that it says on the cap, I should say. Hopefully, once this dries, it will be closer. I really wish that it had like what the color was supposed to be on the cap, especially if you're just going to have the color and the color really isn't matching. Let's go ahead and swatch the rest of these colors and let's see how they lay down on this paper. So something that I noticed once I got into swatching these guys is there is no yellow, so we are missing a primary color with this bunch of markers, which I thought was a little interesting. And then a little bit more picky, and for me personally, is I would have liked to have seen a darker purple. That last color is the darkest that we get. So also because these markers do not have a color name, I would highly recommend making your own swatch cards so you know what you're gonna grab. Alright guys, so something else that I did notice is it seems that over half of these markers just feel dry. Like you can kind of see right here in those grays and the blacks and just up here in different colors. So I'm not sure if I got like a rogue box or if that is a characteristic of these markers, but definitely something that I wanted to mention. So let's go ahead and get into the colored pencils now. Taking a look at the 24 count colored pencils, these come in at $2.75. I like that they have the color range here on the back. First glance, it looks like these are going to pair really nicely with the alcohol markers, but these are just going to be obviously your basic wax based colored pencils. So I really like the point on these. Look at that. I really like that. Let's go ahead and get into swatching these. I was pleasantly surprised how these felt on the paper. For whatever reason, I was expecting them to feel really like scratchy and cheap, but they lay down pretty decent, and I would say that they are pretty comparable to the way a Crayola feels. Another thing I forgot to mention is these do have a name on them, so when you do create, or if you create your own little swatch sheet, it'll be easier to find these. I don't want to get too crazy into anything, but I want to see just real quick how these will build on each other, you know, and see you know, how they do on this paper. And now obviously this is a mixed media, you know, I would use more of like a colored pencil paper. Actually, let's grab a colored pencil paper. Alrighty. I don't want to get too detailed in this, but I think I'm going to use glue instead. But let's see how these kind of blend out. Let's see. Obviously, having the right paper makes a big difference. Like, these already feel 1,000 times better. Oh, God, now that it's close in the camera, really bad. I think for $2.75, you could definitely do something with these. Like I said, this kind of looks like shit. But with time, you know, and a little patience, I think that these could actually, you know, do pretty well. Up next, I have the paint markers. I'm just gonna see how they look on paper for right now. It says these are for paper, ceramic, canvas, wood, and more. You're looking at 16 colors for 20 bucks, so about $1.30 a marker here. So pretty good compared to, you know, something like Posca, or honestly that there are a decent amount of alternative to Posca. So I'm wondering to see how these actually do. Here is first look. It just almost kind of looks like a basic marker. It does say red over here. You do have to kind of flood it just like you would a Posca marker. So it looks so much darker. I don't know why this is looking so much darker on camera. This is actually a really pretty red. I need better lighting overall. It's something I'm trying to work on. Well, now that I've started in the middle of the page with these, I guess it's time to get all these flooded with some pigment, and we'll come back and see what they look like at the end. All right, guys, so I saved you the agony of having to watch another time lapse of me swatching colors. So here they are all laid out. I do like that you have to prime them, or, you know, whatever you want to say, that the color is not already in the nib. Also, I feel like the nib is pretty good. It feels like strong and durable. I don't necessarily think that I would use this pad, even with me, you know, just going light and trying to add layers. You can kind of see the paper is like pilling and coming off. So wouldn't recommend it with this pad. Obviously, you know, we're only looking at an $8 mixed media pad. I do have the glitter paint ones as well. So let me go ahead and get these on here next to the other paint markers, and then we'll be right back. Hello, we are back from another swatching. So I did try to put them next to their respective other paint marker. They are very glittery. So I tried to use the markers on this like leftover black poster board that I had, but they just did not do well. I'm fighting with the material and it pills, so I would not recommend the cheap paper supplies. However, I did use an Ohuhu mixed media paper, and again, you know, the better the paper, the better the result. I really wasn't fighting with the paper at all, and it came out a lot better. Even the glitter ones, I think, did a little bit better than the regular ones. However, I don't know if I would recommend paper overall. I think that these do better on other surfaces, or maybe if you guys know a better paper, but what I have, I'm not really loving. And then I was looking all over my room to find something to draw on that was different than paper for you guys, and I happened across these little baby canvases, and the markers did so much better on these. So if you guys are liking what you're seeing, go ahead, slap a like on the video for me, and if you have not, go ahead and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. But let's get back into the rest of this stuff. All right, and then for the remainder of this video, I will primarily focus on the alcohol markers and the colored pencils. For the picture, I have this coloring book just kind of sitting around, so I thought it would be kind of cool to do this page out of the wild thornberries. I wanted to use something that, you know, you would buy to actually use these materials with, so I feel like this will be a nice pairing. And yeah, let's go ahead and see how this turns out. Alright guys, so there you have it. Here is the finished picture. Overall, I'm pretty impressed with the materials for their price. I think the biggest thing that you're fighting besides quality is just the color range. It's really hard to get the in-between colors and finding, you know, the things that you need to really elevate your photo. But I think overall, if you're a beginning artist, there is some things that you can definitely do with these materials. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on the next one.